this battle, we are rematching DungeonnoobP, and he is one of the stronger challengers I've faced during my career here at Bronze Legends. So, anyways, you can see that he's basically revised his whole setup here. And he before he was running Mega Charizard X, which really was scary in its own right, but now he's running Mega Manectric, and it looks like he has like a momentum-based team with a lot of Pokemon that has switch moves. So anyways, I mean, I saw the Shuckle, and what I like to do is I always like to start according to it. So I figured that Sizer would be a good play here. I was thinking about Mandibuzz because then I could go for a hard defog, but I mean, I was thinking, well, Sizer would be better because I could just U-turn into Mandibuzz and break his what do you call it, his sturdy, right? And I was thinking, well, if he went for Stout Rock right here, then I can defog right off the line. So what surprised me is that he actually went right for a knockoff, and I'm kind of happy I switched there because even though knockoff isn't too great for Mandibuzz, it's a lot better to lose an item on Mandibuzz than to lose an item in Sizer, because I mean I do kind of rely on the power of its Choice Banded Bullet Punch to really break through teams. So now I was thinking, well, I could go into Alakazam because I mean he probably can't do anything to it, even with its status. Like if you went for a Toxic, it wouldn't really matter until I Mega Wall, because I do have Magic Guard for my pre-evolution or pre-Mega Evolution ability. So anyway, so I decided to bring in Sizer. So I was thinking, well, he can't really actually Toxic this, and it's gonna be better. And if he tries to switch out, then you know something's gonna get hit by U-turn, and I'll get a favorable matchup. So he instead decides to sacrifice his Shuckle. And really the only loss I had there was the leftovers on my Mandibuzz, so I'd say that was a really good trade-off. So now I was thinking, well, who do I want to bring in? Because ideally, I want to switch it to a Pokemon that has like a, where basically like when he switches into his favorable matchup, I can switch in really easily. Like for example, at one point I was playing around in a previous battle where I had a Moongus out, and I was hoping they switch into Roserade so that I can bring in Heatran with barely any downside, because Heatran has a really good matchup against Roserade. So I was trying to look for one of those matchups, and I was thinking, although at the end I mean it was too much. Like I couldn't really figure out what I wanted to do. Is I had to remember what he had on his team, then I had to take accordingly. So I mean it wasn't Reddit at all. So anyways, I went right into Alakazam, and he pulled out his Rillaboom, which really isn't a terrible matchup. I'd say it's pretty neutral, because I mean I should outspeed it other than Grassy Glide, which I think has priority, although I don't really know the conditions in which it does have priority. I really have not faced too many Gen 8 Pokemon like Rillaboom before. So anyways, I decided to go right into Mandibuzz. He went for a knockoff, and I mean that wasn't too bad because I already have my item lost. So I guess Mandibuzz can basically just come in and absorb all those knockoffs. So anyways, I went right for a foul play because I was thinking, well, whatever he goes into, even with Manectric, they're not gonna like a foul play to the face. So this guy, I mean, he took huge damage, basically more than half HP. So I mean, I was pretty satisfied by that. So I decided to go into Heatran. I was thinking, well, he might expect my Amoonguss and go for a Flamethrower, but instead he goes for a Wall Switch, which is fine. I mean, the thing with Manectric is it is really scary with its fire and electric coverage, because you have to be really careful what you switch into. And if you think a ground type, you got to be careful with your ground type too, because it does get hit by ice, and you don't really see too many specially defensive ground types too often in Pokemon Red Bronze. So that makes Manectric a really scary Pokemon in some circumstances. So anyways, here he brought out its Palafin, and I was like, well, that's not good, because this Pokemon is an Uber's Pokemon. It has like 160 base attack in its hero form, so I did have to be a bit careful here. So anyways, I brought out my Amoonguss. He actually went for this attack called Mountain Gale, I believe, and I've never heard of this before, but after some research I saw that it was like I think an 85 base power ice type attack. So I mean that would have done some big damage right here to my Amoonguss if it actually landed. And the good thing is I do have Regenerator, so I'm certain I would have lived because it wasn't in its whatever you call it, like its peak form. So I don't know, but still that had potential to be dangerous. And the coverage that Palafin gets is actually crazy. Like it gets so many moves, way too many to be safe. So you have to be so careful whenever you're playing against it. So anyways, here he went right for a Snorlax, and I was considering switching out, but I was like, well, I may as well hit him with a Spore. Then I can pull out my Sizer right here. So the moment he wakes up, he actually goes right for a Belly Drum, and that was really scary. I was even considering like switching out, or maybe going for a Bullet Punch here, or a U-turn. But I was like, well, I do have super power here for a reason, and I mean, I'm gonna outspeed this guy. I don't know why I didn't think I would. So, I mean, I don't know, but luckily we are able to take him down with one superpower. Although, at the same time, now we're not in like a great position because our attack has been dropped, and then he just went right into Manectric, which drops our attack again. And even if we didn't have the attack drop, I still probably would not want to stay in because this thing has flamethrower, so it can do some serious damage. So he went for a flamethrower. I don't think Amoonguss was really the best play, to be honest. I shouldn't have just gone into Heatran. I'm not fully sure what I was thinking there, but you know, partly for me, I'm kind of comfortable throwing Amoonguss around because it does have Regenerator, so that can kind of alleviate for bad plays. But now I decided to go right into Heatran. I mean, it's kind of predictable he would go for a wall switch because there's no way I'm going to stay in, and even if I did, it probably wouldn't matter too much. But you know, it is what it is. Now he brings in his Palafin again, and this is starting to get real scary. Even though he only has 4 Pokemon left, those 4 Pokemon hit like a truck. So I mean, this is by no means any fun. So now I was thinking about who I wanted to switch out into, because I mean, if he goes for an Ice type attack, Amoonguss is gonna suffer, and even if he doesn't, I mean, if he goes for like close combat or something, he could probably bring me low enough to where I would really suffer from Mountain Gale. And I mean, I really didn't have anything that could come into this, and I mean, there's a reason it is banned, because it is too strong for standard play, but you know, it is what it is. And he also has this move called Flip Turn, which is a water priority attack that, or not priority attack, just a water type attack that is like a U-turn where you can switch out. And I mean, that's really strong. And I do believe that Palafin gets a couple of other really strong water moves. Like I think one of them is called Jet Punch. It's some sort of priority water type attack. So I mean, I really needed to be careful here. So anyways, when he went to Sizer, I went straight for a T-Wave. I mean, it does have superpower, but I mean, at this point, I do kind of need to get stuff started. So the good thing was that he did get paralyzed the first turn, and I was thinking he might, like, you know, predict me and go for a U-turn. So if I could get a paralysis off, you know, it should be worth the trade-off of losing my Miltank. So anyways, here I decided to go right into Mandibuzz in case he went for like a close combat or not close combat, a superpower. And he gets paralyzed again, which is unfortunate. And now he starts struggling. I'm not exactly sure why that's the case. I mean, I think he said that he tried to switch out or something and it just started attacking instead. But I don't know. I mean, this is kind of weird. But that is doing a lot of damage. So I decided, well, I should probably just go for a roost because, I mean, he should finish himself off by the recoil damage. So, you know, I think I'd be in a good position. But unfortunately, here he decides to withdraw his Sizer. So I really don't know why I was struggling. I mean, it doesn't make sense. It's probably a bug. So here I decided to just go for a foul plays. I didn't see the point of switching out. So I do want to get damage in this guy. And even if he went for his ice move, I think I would live it. And the good thing is, I mean, he does stay in and go for a close combat. And because he lowers his defenses, our foul play does huge damage. Although it's just shy of knocking him out. But then at the same time, I mean, this is not that bad because now I know that Sizer can come in and finish the job. So I need to make sure that I keep Sizer alive for later on in this battle. So now I was kind of debating on what I should do because, I mean, ideally I don't want to get rid of my Mandibuzz if I can help it. But I mean, at the same time, I mean, what Mandibuzz is going to have to check are Pokemon like Palafin and Sizer, and I think it's done a good enough job at that. So now I was kind of debating who I should go into. I mean, Alakazam was kind of tempting because Alakazam really hasn't been brought into this game yet. And, you know, I mean, if I can get it Mega Walled, I could try to do a late game clean. Although, I mean, right here he decided to go for a switch, which was pretty good because, I mean, I think he should have just gone for a flip turn at that point since he was going to outspeed me. But, I mean, I wasn't going to complain. So I went into Sizer, he went into his own Sizer. I was thinking, well, here I can just finish him off at Bullet Punch because, I mean, I have choice band and everything, so that shouldn't, you know, be too bad. Now, the only issue with Bullet Punch is now, even though I can finish off his Palafin, I cannot finish off his Manectric. So, I mean, I do have to be a bit careful. Although, I mean, it's not that bad because, I mean, Bullet Punch is probably the only thing I would be able to do against this Manectric in the first place since it's gonna outspeed me. So anyways, here I was thinking about switching up. I was like, nah, I should actually just go straight for a raw Bullet Punch. He goes for a knockoff, which actually does massive damage. So I'm kind of surprised. I did not know that Rillaboom hit that hard. So now I was thinking about U-turn, I was like, nah. I mean, I should just go for another Bullet Punch because, I mean, even if he switches out, there's nothing that really wants to take in a Bullet Punch, ideally. Even his Manectric would not want to have to take a Bullet Punch. So, you know, that was good because we were able to take care of the Rillaboom there. And now all he has left is his Palafin and his Manectric. So now I was thinking about going to something else, because I mean, you know, I do want to keep my Sizar alive ideally, because I know it can finish off Palafin. But then at the same time, I mean, I was thinking about it, I could also just attack and then bring in Alakazam for free. But I mean, I don't know, I couldn't really, I didn't know what to do here. And ideally I wanted to keep a clean sheet, but then like at the same time I was thinking it probably would actually be a good idea to just sacrifice something, because I mean, if I'm trying to play all these games and it ends up catching up to me, I could lose this battle. So I mean, ideally, I just sacrifice this Heatran, then I can bring Alakazam in for free, and then probably finish him off, because I will be able to outspeed the rest of this guy's Pokemon and KO them with Psychic. So I mean, here he goes for a flip turn, and he brings in his Manectric here once again, which isn't that bad. It's not, you know, a huge issue, because I mean, I'd rather have to face a Manectric with my Alakazam than have to face the Palafin, because I mean, Alakazam has like 105 base special defense in Mega form, whereas like it only has like 65 base defense. So I mean, you can see that this is obviously the far more favorable matchup. Although I mean, even then, base 105 special defense, I'm still going to be getting hit pretty hard by his attack. So anyways, I mean, I traced his Intimidate. It doesn't really matter against this Manectric. It would have been better if this was his Palafin, and I go right for a Psychic. Now, one thing I did learn from this battle is that this game does use a Gen 6 mechanic where you use your pre-Mega Evolution speed on the first turn. So I should have outsped him with my 150 base speed, but before I Mega Evolve I have 120, so that right there though was GG.